Hello, staff, and welcome to the Hand in Hand Kindergarten Data Overview. The purpose of this data overview is to examine demographics and Georgia kindergarten inventory skill scores to look for areas of strengths and weaknesses so we can better help our students with academic achievement. When examining school demographics, one can see that our kindergarten enrollment for the year 2011 is 326 students. Year 2 had a big increase of 41 additional students. Then in Year 3, we increased 9 extra students, making our total enrollment for Year 3 at 376 students. Last year, we opened up 2 new kindergarten classes to cover the increase of student population. There was an increase of 8 Hispanic students from Year 1 to Year 3. African American students had been on a steady increase of 40 students from Year 1 to Year 3. The white population decreased 12 students from Year 1 to Year 3. One thing that we can note is our enrollment is continually going up. That is good news for our system. We are gradually increasing our numbers at the foundation level of education. When breaking down the population into gender, one can see that the boys started Year 1 with 186 kindergarten students and ended the year with 211. That is an increase of 25 boys. The girls started Year 1 with 140 kindergarten students and ended the Year 3 with 165 girls. There was an increase of girls. So in Year 3, there were 46 more boys than girls in our system. When looking at additional kindergarten subgroups, English language learners had an increase of 2% from Year 1 to Year 3. In the area of free and reduced lunch group, the increase was 11% from Year 1 to Year 3. Students with disabilities increased 2% from Year 1 to Year 3. There was an increase in all subgroup areas in population. So as you can see, our school is the population is constantly growing. Hand in Hand certified staff has lots of experience. 10 of the teachers have at least 1 to 10 years of experience. Half of the staff has between 11 and 30 years of experience. Only 2 of the teachers are in their first year of experience. When examining the percentage of kindergarten English language arts elements that were scored at meets or exceeds, there's a big change in Year 1. As a reminder, the Georgia Performance Standards changed to Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. Therefore, the standardized test, GKIDS, the standards changed during Year 1 to Year 2. Looking at the graph, one can see that the state results dropped within our school. There's a decrease in the percentage of kindergarten math elements at meets or exceeds from Year 1 to Year 2. Note, Year 2 is when our school changed from the Georgia Performance Standards to Common Core. When examining Year 2 to Year 3, there's a 2% increase, and our school is performing at the state level. Actually, we're at the same level with the state, and that's a strength. Approaches to learning are dispositions or outlooks not just toward learning new skills, but using knowledge and skills that students already possess. You're looking at approaches to learning being curiosity, innovative, the creativity and problem solving, attention, engagement, and persistent. As children learn knowledge and skills, they also develop attitudes towards learning, and using these skills can help them grow. So our state reports out on approaches to learning, and then we also move into the professional and social development. Now, it demonstrates self-confidence, positive attitudes, and it adjusts well to changes in routines environment, expresses emotions and needs through appropriate words and actions. This is exactly what we want our children to do. We're looking at the perceptions of themselves and their capacity for self-regulation, Social development refers to the child's ability to interact with others. We have slides. The next slides will show us how we are faring with the state scores. During year 1, the school scored 2% lower than the state level. Now, reviewing year 2, the school scored 6% above that state level. Then in year 3, our school moved up to 82%, still exceeding the state level. So we are certainly exceeding in that area. When examining the data from the personal and social development, year 1 indicates that the school scored 1% lower than the state level. During year 2, the school and the state tied on percentages. The school increased 2% above the state level on year 3. When looking at hand-in-hand in the data that we have for the English language learner or English language standards, we're looking at the ELA standards. We have identified some weaknesses in the school improvement and have placed these standards in there. So we've looked at produces initial, medial, vowel, and final sounds. We're looking at reads common high-frequency words by sight. Reads emergent reader text with understanding. So those are 3 of the standards that our school has picked out. So let's focus now on the standard initial, medial, vowel, and final sounds chart that we have right here. In year 2013 to year 2014, white students increased 6% on initial, media, vowel, and final sounds. African American students scored 2% lower between those years. Hispanic students increased by 2%, but there's still an achievement. There's 2%, but there's still an achievement that's going up with the other races. There was an increase of 28% in white scores from year 2013 to year 2014. African American students increased 15% between the years. Hispanic students increased by 8% in meeting the standard. There was a steady increase for all races on this ELA standard. Looking at our hand-in-hand data, math standards identified as having weaknesses in the school improvement plan. We're looking at the standard that is about counting to 100 by ones and tens, students representing a number of objects with a written numeral. We're looking at whether a group is greater than, less than, or equal to another, represents addition and subtraction with objects, identifies shapes as 2D or 3D. When looking at this standard of the greater than, less than, and equals standard, African Americans scored higher in year 2014 than in 2013, which is an increase. Hispanic students increased by 21% on meeting this standard. The percentage of students from year 2013 to 2014 decreased by 3%. The achievement gap with this standard on counting to 100 by ones and tens is really close between the African Americans and Hispanic. The achievement gap is. There was a slight increase with all races with standards of the counting from 1 to 100. So, what does this all mean? We look at demographics. Yes, our attendance is going up. That's a strength. That means that more highly qualified teachers will be hired to open up more classrooms for the future. In academics of ELA and math, student percentages meeting or exceeding the ELA standards are above the state averages. Student math percentages are 84%, equal to the state level. There's an achievement gap between the whites and the African Americans. The data team will drill down deeper into the standards that have been identified as weak and explore solutions that will increase performance. They'll examine formative and summative assessments to identify problems. In the approaches to learning and personal and social development, the data team would offer tips to help increase these areas. So, how can we close the achievement gap between whites and African Americans? That's something to think about. Thank you all for attending this presentation, and goodbye.